people, look about you at ordinary products in use in the home or office. See how you might improve such a product and increase its usefulness. Many times, an old invention like a can opener will present possibilities for improvement that can make you rich. E. Start small but have a big dream about the future of your product. You may begin manufacturing in your home or your garage, but remember, to make really big money, you must have capital for expansion, to train sales staffs, and to obtain proper distribution. 2. How to get rich through real estate and land development. More great fortunes have been made through real estate and land development than through any other single source of investment. There are 2 types of investments in real estate: vacant land to be held for future development, and houses, factories, and other buildings to be renovated and resold at a substantial profit. Any suburb in any modern growing city in America is a good investment prospect for future expansion and growth. A few years ago, a man I knew chose Albuquerque, New Mexico, for future expansion. He bought vacant lots on the outskirts of what he thought would be a rapidly expanding city. Time bore out his good judgment. The city kept growing, and the man sold all his corner lots for tremendous prices and his other lots for homes and stores. He is now a millionaire. Any person who can afford to buy up vacant lots on the outskirts of a city or two for a small down payment is almost certain to become rich if he holds the lots for 5 years or more. A member in my New York lecture group had a vacation in the Grand Bahamas. She bought 2 lots with a view of the ocean for future growth and development and kept up the monthly payments. Now, several years later, she has made enough money on which to retire from this investment. The Grand Bahamas have become a big resort area, and her lots were in demand for homes and businesses. This same woman did the same thing with Phoenix, Arizona. She bought 2 lots on the outskirts of town, and today these lots are worth 3 times what she paid for them. Take these steps to succeed in real estate A. If you are young, under 40 years of age, choose land in outlying districts, near a big city, and hold it patiently for some years. You will almost certainly double your money, and in some cases you will become rich. B. One of the greatest fortunes ever built in America was through option buying. Take options on land near some city, and then get a sales crew to sell lots to individuals for future home sites. When your option comes due, you will generally have made sufficient money to pay a substantial down payment on the land tract you will develop in the future. C. Look for rundown properties in your city or town, which you buy for a small down payment. Go in with painters, plumbers, carpenters, and plasterers, and do a quick renovating job. Then put the house on the market again at a substantial profit. A man I knew in Hollywood did this for 2 years, and at the end of that time, he had made $100,000. With that money, he branched out in bigger holdings, such as apartment houses and business properties. He is well off today because of his quick turnovers. D. Form an investment pool with your friends or relatives and buy land for development near some big growing city. With this larger sum of money, you can make more down payments on lots and soon have a tremendous growth of your capital. A man came from New York to Los Angeles, California, for a vacation. He was impressed by the growth of a section known as the San Fernando Valley. He hurried back to New York and got many of his friends and relatives to invest their money in this unseen land, on his word only. This man bought up corner lots and residential lots all over the valley. Today, this man and his trusting investors are all millionaires. 3. How to use speculation in stocks, gold, oil, and other resources to get rich. The stock market, bond market, and commodities market, as well as speculations in oil, gold, silver, uranium, coal, and other natural resources, are decidedly speculative. However, so are most other business investments. Yet some of the world's greatest fortunes have been created through this form of speculation. Among these were fortunes built by J.P. Morgan, Bernard Baruch, Jesse Livermore, Paul Getty, James Pappas, Charles Schwab, and Vanderbilt. One of the cardinal rules in stock market investment is buy low, sell high. Investors who follow this advice look for stocks, mostly on the American Stock Exchange, that sell for $10 a share or less. They put these shares away and forget about them for 2 or more years. In most instances, such stocks, bought at the lowest possible figure, will double or triple in a year or two. I knew a woman who had been left $20,000 in her husband's estate. She followed a broker's advice and bought up 20 stocks, 1,000 shares of each, that sold for $10 or less. They fluctuated over a period of 3 years. When she sold her holdings, she had $60,000 from her original investment of $20,000. I know of 2 instances where gold stocks were bought and put away into trunks and forgotten. After the death of her husband, one woman was going to throw away the certificates she found in a trunk, but something told her to check with the stockbroker. She found that the certificates had been worthless for years, but now they were suddenly valuable, as a gold strike had been made by that company, and this woman made several $1,000s. In the other instance, a man needed money suddenly, and he thought of some gold stocks he had bought 10 years before. He took them out and checked on them. He found they were now worth $10,000. He had bought them for something like $1,000. Consider investments in products that are used by the ever-expanding population, like lumber, cement, steel, plumbing and electrical supplies, motors, and airplanes. These generally represent substantial fields for investment and growth. Foods and drugs represent another field to bear watching, for people have to eat, and people do get sick and need medicines. These products all have growth potentials. 4. Your $100,000 dream could come through the sale and servicing of home products. Every young couple who marries and starts housekeeping is going to need a refrigerator, stove, beds, vacuum cleaners, bedroom sets, and living room and dining room suites. Many thousands of people have made fortunes catering to such products. If you consider this type of business, be sure that you know it thoroughly and locate in a district where your store is easily accessible by bus and other forms of transportation. Just consider one example of how a special product designed for the home can make one a millionaire. A man once worked for a big window sash concern in the South and learned the business thoroughly. He decided to branch out for himself and raised $5,000 capital. He worked out a design for a louver-type sash that could be made of wood or aluminum. The slat sections locked automatically at the corners, creating a window that was weatherproof and could not be opened by prowlers. He applied for patents for his product, and after exhibiting his windows at a special housewares exhibit, he had so many orders from builders that he could hardly fill them. That first year, this man grossed $1 million on his windows. One man I knew found such an item at a home fair. It was a new type of ironing board cover. He trained a group of men and women to sell it and traveled throughout the country, making tremendous money through this one item alone. 5. Riches can be made in the healing arts and sciences. Many great fortunes have been built by dedicated men and women who have gone into the healing arts and sciences. This includes the medical profession in all its aspects: optometrists and opticians, chiropractors, chiropodists, dentists, and orthopedic specialties. Also, this list includes private rest homes, special nursing homes and sanitariums, and privately operated hospitals. Most of those who enter the healing arts have to make provision for special education. A university education is necessary for this specialized field. But there are many allied branches of the healing arts that can be entered with a minimum amount of formal schooling. Dental assistants, radiologists, masseurs, physical therapists, and laboratory technicians are but a few. If you feel you are qualified for this special field, and you love to help sick people, do not hesitate to enter this branch of service. He solved this problem by finding a huge ranch in the desert near Los Angeles. Here, with 2 doctors in attendance, he opened his health spa. It was soon crowded with patients who received his special diet and treatment by the attending physicians. The fresh desert air, the rest, and the diet undoubtedly helped many patients recover, and these patients sang his praises to the sky. His ranch has been going for many years and is filling a definite need in the health field. 6. How to make a fortune through educational ideas, books, lectures, and mail-order services. Many great fortunes have been built through educational systems such as universities, special schools, mail-order courses, books, and public lectures. Some of the greatest fortunes are held by universities, which are endowed by rich people. Many of these schools were founded by religious orders and have become prosperous. If you have an idea for instructing people in any subject from yoga to flower arranging, you will be able to find followers who are willing to pay for special instruction. In most cases, to open such schools, all you need is an instructor's license or a business permit. Advertisements in your local papers will tell the public about your special branch of instruction, and, if you have good, solid experience to back you up in your work, you will make a success. One woman I knew in New York City, who was an artist, found that her art did not sell too well. She opened a small class of instruction in her own apartment in photo coloring, in which students were shown how to paint large portraits with oil colors that sold for $25 to $50 each. She circularized all the leading photographers in the city, offering her hand-tinted portraits. She was flooded with orders, which she gave to her graduate and advanced students. Another woman opened a school for teaching women how to make artificial flowers, furnishing all the materials. She then instructed her graduate students how to obtain orders for their products from stores, restaurants, and business establishments. She had one service where she furnished a new bouquet of her beautiful flowers to restaurants and hotels for a certain sum each week. Her business expanded and grew quickly, and she is now making in the neighborhood of $50,000 a year. One woman had a charm course for women that made her a great deal of money. Another woman had a small booklet which she published, The 10 Ways to Win and Hold a Man, which had a good sale. Still another woman had a mail order course on how to have a happy sex life even though married, and the money poured in through the mail. 7. Fortunes made through raising, preparing, and distribution of food products. Many of the world's greatest fortunes have been made by companies that have prepared and distributed food products. However, it is difficult, if not impossible, to go into direct competition with these large organizations. There are many other branches in the culinary arts which you may successfully undertake. If you are skilled in any special forms of baking, cooking, or serving food products, there are many opportunities offered for your specialties. Try to furnish a unique environment or have something different about your products. An Italian woman in New York City opened a little restaurant offering special home-cooked meals. Soon she had to expand her business. In a few years, she had grown so big that she had a flock of chefs, waiters, bartenders, and busboys waiting on thousands of customers. Just recently, this woman sold her successful Italian restaurant for over $1.5 million. One man in Coney Island offers not just an ordinary hot dog, but one that is a foot long. He has made a fortune. Another great success was made in featuring the lowly hot dog. This is Nathan's in Coney Island, and he has made a fortune by offering quality and a unique atmosphere. A very special field that offers big returns is the health food store business. These have sprung up in every large city in America. In your own hometown or city, there may not be one. Investigate the possibilities and see if you cannot duplicate the successes enjoyed by many of these stores. A restaurant with a different slant very often goes over big with the public. Perhaps you have an idea for a specialized type of food, such as Indian, Greek, Turkish, Hungarian, Chinese, or Spanish, that will go over in your particular city. One of the greatest successes in this specialized field is that of a restaurant known as Asti's in New York City. The owner was a former opera singer who decided one sure way to continue his singing career would be to have a restaurant where he featured opera singing. His small place was soon crowded with opera lovers. Opera stars from the Metropolitan soon began coming to his place after their performances, and they would join the waiters in their singing. The customers loved it. Soon Adolph, the owner, had to get another bigger place on 13th Street near 5th Avenue to accommodate his successful business. Now, years later, he is still doing packed business in a field that is not overcrowded. You may feel you are far from cosmopolitan centers and can never start a unique or different type of business. A man named John Bennett in Houston, Texas, heard of the tremendous success enjoyed by Asti's in New York. He decided to open a similar place in Houston, to be called the Galleria Opera House. He furnished the place beautifully, and on opening night it was packed. From that night on, presenting gifted singers who did opera, musical comedy, and operettas, he had a tremendous success. His $100,000 dream came true in doing work he loved and in giving the public beautiful music in a gorgeous setting. Many great fortunes have been made through specializing in unusual culinary products. One man has made a fortune in raising mushrooms for exclusive restaurants and hotels. Another man built an enormous lobster business in Maine, which flies fresh lobsters to hotels and restaurants throughout the country. Still, another specialist in food products raises choice squabs, pheasants, and duck, for which he gets big prices from a rich clientele who want to furnish their guests with an elegant meal. Another man has made big money by furnishing venison, buffalo meat, rabbits, and other oddities for hotels and restaurants. A Texan found a use for the big rattlers that overrun his state. He catches them and prepares them for canning. Many people consider rattlesnake meat a delicacy to be compared with snails, frog legs, and oysters. Always, the unusual and original in the way of foods will intrigue the public and make a fortune for the person who comes first in his field. A woman traveling in Italy was impressed by the small, round tomatoes she found growing in a certain section. She brought them back to America and began growing them. She found a ready market for her product and has made a fortune through their sale. Remember the new, delicious vegetable that came on the American tables a few short years ago, called broccoli? The man who gave this product his name made millions and became known as the Broccoli King. One woman's homemade preserves were so good that she was urged by friends to put them in glass jars and sell them. This product has now become one of the famous name brands in preserved fruits, marmalades, and jellies. One of the largest and most successful establishments near Los Angeles began through a woman's home-canned boysenberries. She put up a stand on her farm and sold these by the jar. Soon she opened a restaurant featuring her famous preserves and chicken. She made such a success of it that soon she and her husband had built a ghost town, and each day thousands of visitors buy her products, visit her gift shops, and eat in her restaurants. The Knott's Berry Farms have become one of the most successful enterprises on the West Coast. 8. Communications and entertainment, the theater, motion pictures, television, and recordings. It is estimated that Bing Crosby is worth more than $400 million. Frank Sinatra is said to have close to $200 million. And many Hollywood stars are worth from $5 or $10 million to $100 million. If you select the communications or entertainment field to try to materialize your $100,000 dream, you may make your money quickly and pleasantly. However, as in all fields, it is a crowded profession, and you should bring to it not only enthusiasm and a desire to make a fortune, but real talent. Choose the particular branch of the entertainment world you wish to work in. Then give yourself adequate preparation and schooling. It is estimated that it takes from 3 to 5 years of special theatrical schooling and experience to make a star. The careers that seemingly blossom overnight usually were in preparation from 5 to 10 years before the public heard of the stars. 9. Transportation, airplanes, automobiles, and products relating to them have made thousands rich. If you choose this field of endeavor, you have almost unlimited opportunities to make for yourself a wonderful, big-paying career. Obtain good training before you enter this field. Decide what branch of mechanical or electrical work you wish to specialize in. From Marconi to Sarnoff, who heads one of the world's biggest communication systems in radio and television, these specialists in their fields began at the bottom and worked their way to the top. Select what branch of the automotive trade you want to excel in: the manufacturing, sale, or repair and servicing of cars. Then train yourself with adequate schooling or experience in the field before you try to make your fortune in this highly selective field. Many young people are preparing themselves for success in the airplane industry. Here again, you must choose which branch of this industry you wish to enter. Again, schooling for this occupation is essential, whether you want to be a pilot on giant passenger planes or a mechanic servicing them. The same thing applies to modern air conditioning, computers, recorders, and highly specialized electronic devices for aerospace research. Go to a recognized school, obtain the best training you can buy, and then patiently make an application to the big companies that are usually searching for competent employees. 10. The creative and artistic fields offer many opportunities for becoming rich. In the creative and artistic fields, many people have made vast fortunes. This field includes such diversified interests as music, art, literature, interior decorating, cosmetology, and architecture. One of the prime requisites for success in this attractive field is a good imagination. If you do not have a creative imagination, then it is better for you not to attempt to achieve fame and fortune in this artistic field. If you possess a creative talent and discover it, you must develop it, either through formal training in a special school or blundering through to success on a trial and error basis. You can accomplish literally miracles when you have faith in yourself and your talents. To achieve success in any of these artistic and creative fields, follow these rules. Be certain that you possess talent for the field you select. If you do not, enroll in some school and prepare yourself before attempting it. Obtain as much information as possible about the creative work you wish to try. This can be done through the libraries and through special books written on the subjects. If you select music, know what branch. Do you want to play an instrument, become a singer, conduct an orchestra, compose a symphony, or write pop songs? The approach to each of these creative arts is different, and you must know which field you wish to pursue. Then acquire the special training that causes you to excel in that art. If you select the field of cosmetology, make up your mind whether you want to be a hairstylist, working for someone else, or eventually to open your own shop. Do you want to specialize in women's makeup, or do you prefer theatrical makeup? Max Factor and the Westmore brothers made a tremendous success through their specializing in theatrical makeup. If your talent lies in the direction of writing, choose the special field in which you wish to succeed. Short stories and novels require a totally different approach. Article writing, on the other hand, is still another branch of this art. If you want to specialize in scripts for movies or television, or dramas for the Broadway stage, you must know the techniques used in these special fields and study books that give you a thorough grasp of this subject. Interior decorating offers talented people a big opportunity for creative expression. A good basic training in art, sketching, color harmony, and design is essential. A man who came to Hollywood to decorate a big Bel Air home met people through one job that brought him nearly $500,000 in future jobs. Through one contact, he later decorated some rooms in the palace at Monaco for Prince Rainier and Princess Grace. Review of Chapter 8.1. One golden idea can bring you $1 million fortune if you once learn how to use the creative workshop of your mind to forge the links in the golden chain of success. 2. How a man built a fortune of $500,000 through a creative idea he received when a coiled spring made a slithering movement. He invented the slithering slinky toy that made him rich. 3. The 10 golden ideas that have made people rich, and how you can use one or more of these ideas to shape your future destiny and win your $100,000 dream. 4. How to use the invention and manufacturing of articles needed by the masses to bring you a tremendous income. 5. You may make your fortune through real estate and land development, as thousands have done to achieve a fortune. 6. Some of the world's greatest fortunes have been built through speculation in stocks, gold, oil, and other natural resources. This field is unlimited and offers you great opportunities for attaining wealth. 7. The sale and servicing of home products, like refrigerators, air conditioners, vacuum cleaners, and other articles, can bring you your $100,000 dream quickly. 8. You can make your fortune through the healing arts and sciences. Many branches in this fascinating field do not require a college education or diploma, but only a desire to help suffering, sick humanity. 9. Some of the world's greatest fortunes have been created through educational ideas, books, lectures, and mail-order subjects on any and every subject, from raising poodles to karate. 10. The food industry offers untold opportunities for one to become rich. Find a special product, open a specialized restaurant or food store, and you can win a fortune. 11. The communications and entertainment industry offer some of the best and quickest ways to fame and fortune. Choose your own particular branch and prepare yourself for the field you wish to choose, and you may make your $100,000 fortune overnight. 12. The transportation fields of airplanes, automobiles, and related products have brought some of the biggest fortunes into existence in the past 50 years. Select your field and be patient, for the big rewards you can expect may take a little time to materialize. 13. How you can go into the creative and artistic fields and become rich. These fields include music, art, literature, interior decorating, cosmetology, architecture, and many other branches that require specialized training. 14. A young author sold his first book to movies for $85,000, and another young man became a producer of his own film when he decided he would succeed in this profession. Chapter 9. How you can magnetize and attract money through wealthy and important people. You've heard the saying, hitch your wagon to a star. Many people who have become rich have done so by attaching themselves and their destinies to the rising star of some gifted or wealthy person. In this chapter, you will learn how you can hitch your financial wagon to a glittering star that is already shining brightly in the firmament of riches and achieve your own $100,000 dream. Elvis Presley hitched his wagon to the rising star of Colonel Parker and became one of the most valuable properties in theatrical history. 15 of Presley's records have sold over 1 million copies. Arthur Brisbane, one of the highest-paid editors of all time, hitched his literary wagon to the rising star of William Randolph Hearst and went on to fame and fortune. A young attorney magnetized a prominent senator. I once knew a young attorney who had put in his apprenticeship working for a big law firm in New York City. He came to some of my lectures and learned of this principle for magnetizing and attracting important people. He decided he would do this in Washington, D.C. He met a senator who took a liking to him. He visited the senator's home and met his wife and family. A very important opening came up on one of the most powerful committees in Washington, and they needed a bright young attorney. Who do you think the senator selected? His young protege from New York City. From that position, this young attorney was selected to do legal work for one of the aspiring candidates for the presidency and traveled throughout the country in his entourage. He is now firmly established in Washington, associating with big and important people, close to the president himself. The old saying, "It's not what you know, but who you know," is a truism that has been responsible for many great careers and the creation of some of the biggest fortunes in the world. The regime for magnetizing and attracting rich and important people. 1. Learn the art of psychohypnotic projection. Your mind has tremendous powers for magnetizing and attracting people and things. What you put into your higher mind centers is capable of projecting itself on subtle wavelengths like radio or television rays and reaching into the minds of other people. Sit in meditation and hold in your mind the name or face of some person you want to attract. Project the thought to the cosmic mind. I want to meet you. I have something of value to give to the world, and I realize you can be an important channel for me to accomplish my objective. If possible, get a picture from a newspaper or magazine of the person's face. Keep it beside your bed. Project the thought to that person every night when you go to sleep and every morning when you awaken. You may not know how to go about meeting this person, but your higher psychic centers will be busy working out a formula which will bring it about. It may be on a plane trip, at a resort place, at some public meeting, but inevitably, after a short time, you will gravitate in that person's orbit and will meet him. As you are already magnetized to him, he will recognize you as though he already knew you and will help you achieve your objective. To show you how this principle of psychohypnotic suggestion works, there was a man who worked as a hairstylist in New York City. He had long wanted to meet a man who was the biggest hairstylist and who taught advanced hairstyling to beauty shop owners and operators. His name was Lee Self, and he received as much as $80 for his class instruction in advanced hairstyling. One day, this young hairstylist was on a plane going to visit his family in Amarillo, Texas. Who do you think was on the same plane? Lee Self, the advanced hairstylist, who was also a Texan. The two men struck up a conversation, and before they reached Texas, the two men had made an agreement to work together. From this beginning, the young Texan, after learning all of the expert's advanced hairstyling techniques, branched out on his own. As a student of the great Lee Self, he held classes and sometimes had as many as 300 or 400 cosmetologists in his classes at $50 each. He made as much as $50,000 a year and later won every national and international award for his advanced hairstyling. He was also invited by large beauty schools to come in for special instruction to their classes at $2,000 an appearance. This young man's name was Gwen Burgess, and he and his twin brother Glenn Burgess, who later joined him, became the biggest names in advanced hairstyling. 2. If you do not know any specific person you wish to magnetize and attract, then use the same principle for attracting the right organization to help you succeed. Write down the type of organization you wish to work for, and then concentrate on this for 15 minutes a day, asking your higher mind to bring you contacts within that organization. Choose one or more of these classifications of organizations for your concentration and magnetizing. Politics. The theater insurance, the stock market union organizers, industrial plants, manufacturers, clothing and fashions, cosmetics and beauty products, building, hardware, plumbing, educational institutions, real estate, electronics, computers, transportation, communications. 3. Magnetize your higher mind centers by imagining yourself already working in the organization you have selected. See yourself meeting wealthy and important people. Mentally project yourself into their homes and apartments and see them accepting you and wanting to help you. 4. To further magnetize your mind centers, study the lives of successful and wealthy people. Get back copies of Fortune magazine and learn about these successful people, how they work, how they began their careers, their thoughts and inspirations. Read books on the lives of these wealthy people until your mind becomes so magnetized with the idea of riches that you will automatically do the things that cause you to be attracted into the orbit of rich people. 5. Try to align yourself with important people in your present work. To magnetize successful people, think their thoughts, follow their habit patterns, talk about things that interest them, and in other ways make yourself attractive to them. When the time comes for these influential people to select assistants or advance someone in their environment, they will think of you above others. A young woman graduated from college after studying to become a writer. She had wanted to get on one of the biggest magazines that catered to women. She knew no one in that field, but she began reading the magazine, studying the ideas presented in it, learning who the editor and assistant editors were. She questioned doormen as to where the editor had lunch. She managed to be in the same restaurant a few times when the editor had her lunch. One day, she had a brief opportunity to talk to this woman editor, and she found her pleasant. She told her of her desire to work for her magazine, and the editor told her how to go about arranging an interview. 3 weeks later, this young author was working for this editor, and several years later, when there was an opening for an assistant editor, she had so magnetized the job that she was chosen for it. 6. Acculturate your mind and absorb knowledge about as many subjects as possible. So when you meet important people in big positions, they will realize you have quality and they will have a desire to help further your career. A young woman I once knew worked for a large manufacturing plant as a secretary. She aspired to the position of head secretary to the big boss, which would have paid her a bigger salary and was much more interesting work. However, this young woman had a brusque, sharp personality. She spoke with a Bronx accent, often made mistakes in her grammar, and in other ways showed that she was not mentally progressing. When an opening came because the secretary to the big boss got married, this woman was shocked when the man selected one of the other girls, who had not been with the firm long, and gave her the better job. 7. Constantly work to improve your personality, your voice, your knowledge of words, your manners. As Emerson said, "What you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say." Rich and important people sense when a person is not one of quality and distinction, and as like attracts like, they seldom help a person who is not mentally their equal. 8. There is a very important law which works to bring important people into your orbit. It is the law of proximity. Deliberately put yourself into proximity with persons of wealth and importance. Go to restaurants, hotels, vacation resorts where they are apt to congregate. Attend a church that is popular with socially prominent and rich people. A young woman from our New York lecture group heard me tell this at one of our classes, and she chose to have her vacation that winter instead of the summer months. She went to Palm Beach, Florida, and took a room at a hotel there. She attended functions at the hotel, sat in the nightclub and bar, walked beside the seashore, swam, and lounged under a cabana, where young, rich bachelors were vacationing. One day she was reading a book with one eye cocked on a young man sitting nearby. She projected the thought, "You will ask me what book I am reading, and strike up a conversation with me." Within 10 minutes, the young man spoke up, and his first words were, "What's the name of the book that's holding you spellbound?" From this casual beginning, they began to date. He was a graduate from Harvard, a beginning lawyer. She worked for a law firm. The law of proximity was at work. From this simple beginning, they saw each other in New York, and gradually they fell in love and were married. Review of Chapter 9. 1. How you can hitch your wagon to the flaming star of success and rise to a position of fame, power, and riches. 2. How famous people have used this success formula to attain their brightest dreams. 3. How a young attorney magnetized a prominent senator through psychohypnotic powers of his mind and became one of Washington's biggest attorneys. 4. How twins from Texas became prominent hairstylists and used psychohypnotic powers to attract one of the leading instructors in advanced hairstyling. They made as high as $50,000 a year and more through this method. 5. Select the organization with which you wish to be associated and then magnetize it by concentrating each day for 15 minutes on being with that company. 6. Study the lives of rich and successful people through magazines and books that tell of their success secrets. When you meet wealthy people, use this knowledge to magnetize them. 7. How a young woman graduate from a university decided she would work for a certain women's magazine. She magnetized the editor, and later she became the assistant editor. 8. How you can acculturate your mind and absorb knowledge about many subjects, so you will be able to attract persons of culture and wealth. 9. Develop your personality, improve your knowledge of words, refine your voice and manners, and you will be able to magnetize rich and important people with ease when you meet them. 10. How you can use the law of proximity to attract rich people by going to resorts, hotels, and restaurants, where you can magnetize and attract wealthy persons. 11. How a young woman used this law of proximity to attract a wealthy young man in Palm Beach, Florida. She later married this young attorney. Chapter 10. How to use concentrated mind power. Dynamics to attract a fortune. Most people approach the acquisition of a fortune with a me attitude. They dissipate their mental energy by changing plans or jobs. They give themselves 1,000 reasons why they should fail. These are the people who do not have the concentrated mind power to push on towards their goal of the $100,000 dream. Here are some of the excuses these people make to themselves. The rich keep getting richer, and the poor keep getting poorer. Who wants to be bothered taking care of a big estate? To be rich today, you must be a crook. Everything's been invented, discovered, and evolved. What chance do I have to find something new? In this chapter, let us explode all these myths regarding the building of a fortune and discover how you may use the concentrated mind power dynamics that will attract your $100,000 dream. If you think only occasionally, "I'd like to be rich," or "I wonder what it would be like to own my own business," and then promptly forget it, you are not using concentrated mind power dynamics. How to use concentrated mind power dynamics. The concentrated power of an idea. The concentrated power of an idea, when it is repeated and thought of over and over, creates mind power dynamics. The man who led victorious armies to destroy the ancient city of Carthage repeated over and over, every time he appeared in the Senate, every time he met one or more friends on the streets, "Carthage must be destroyed." He never wandered from the fixed idea that surged through his mind like a theme in a symphony. Finally, under the impetus of this concentrated idea, Carthage was destroyed. 3 things that deflect your mind from success. There are 3 things that keep most people from achieving concentrated mind power dynamics. These 3 things can deflect your mind from achieving success. 1. The negative thought, repeated often, that you cannot make a fortune or achieve success. 2. Listening to other people, including your own family and friends, when they tell you that you were born poor and must remain poor. 3. Vacillating and flitting from one goal to another, never knowing what you want to achieve from life, and wasting your time and energy on useless and profitless pursuits. All great fortunes have been built by men who had learned how to use concentrated mind power dynamics. They selected the business they wanted to succeed in, and then spent all their waking hours concentrating on the means for achieving success. You have undoubtedly seen someone burn a hole in a piece of paper by concentrating the sun's rays through a magnifying glass. This is similar to what happens in your mind when you concentrate all its dynamic power on a single idea, the idea of materializing your $100,000 dream. A diamond is the hardest of all stones and will not melt in a furnace heated 7 times 7. However, if you put this gem into a cube and expose it to the concentrated focused rays of the sun, it will melt quickly. Electricity is in the air all about us but does no good. When it is conducted through copper wires to a motor, it turns the wheels of industry. Your mental force and energy is also electrical in nature. Only when it is dynamically concentrated through the constructive force of your ideas is it able to bring you creative action that can make you rich. Concentrated dynamic mind power built a business that grossed $7 million for this man. Many people have thought of going into the chicken business to get rich. Thousands have tried and failed and have had the excuse, "Oh, well, there are too many people in the business." A young man in Texas made up his mind he was going to get rich raising chickens on his farm back in 1929. He overcame the usual discouraging experiences that hit every beginning business. By 1941, he had built his business to 250,000 chickens a year, and he sold them alive. At the end of the war, through concentrated mind power and determination, he had his own feed mill, his own hatchery and processing plant, and 30 chicken farms. He didn't just concentrate on raising chickens, he started freezing them and cutting them up and packaging them for restaurants and supermarkets. But he did not stop with just raising and marketing chickens. He had created such a momentum with his concentrated dynamic mind power that he finally bought a $400,000 drive-in restaurant in Dallas in which he could use the products he raised. From this beginning, he expanded once more and bought an incubator with a capacity of 92,000 eggs a week. He bought another feed mill, for which he paid $300,000 and built a plant to process his chickens. This cost another $300,000. This processing plant could take a fryer and turn it into packaged parts in about 12 minutes. It had a capacity for 12,000 chickens a day. Finally, this man had a fortune of $2,250,000 invested in the chicken business. He had 1,500 employees and owned about 1 million chickens at a time. His gross finally hit $7 million a year. When you begin to concentrate your mind power on a dynamic idea for getting rich, remember, your idea will gain momentum and sweep you on to success if you concentrate on only one positive thought that you are going to become rich. Step-by-step method for using concentrated mind power dynamics to attract a fortune. 1. Sit quietly by yourself for about an hour and just concentrate your mind power on a single idea. Write it down so you will never waver in your concentration. How can I attract a fortune? Then run through your consciousness all the various ways by which you might improve your lot in life. If you are working for a salary, imagine yourself being in your own business. Very few people ever get rich working for someone else. Most fortunes are built through creating and then selling a product to the public. When you have probed as many ideas as possible for making a fortune, see which one your mind keeps coming back to. This is usually the one idea that can make you rich. 2. Now write, on a card that you can keep where you will see it several times a day, these words: "I can and will have my $100,000 dream." The head of International Business Machines once wrote a one-word motto that he caused to be hung in all his offices. It was think. This one word represented all the concentrated mind power in back of this vast organization, and under Watson's leadership, IBM became one of the world's richest organizations. 3. Each day, reaffirm your faith in yourself, your talents, and your product by giving yourself a short pep talk just before you go out to face the business world. You should stand in front of a mirror to do this, and you can say aloud or think the following words: I now concentrate all my mind power on achieving success. Today, I shall think, talk, and act all day as though I am a great success. I now use mind power dynamics to fix my goal in my mind. I can achieve riches. I will be successful. I am dynamic, and I have great ideas to give to the world. A person may have a mediocre talent in some particular field, but if he keeps proclaiming his ability and uses these positive suggestions, the concentrated power of his mind can forge success from whatever limited talents he possesses. This also applies to some product that you may think is ordinary or even insignificant. If you concentrate the mind power dynamics on making it successful, you will achieve a fortune through it. One man concentrated on making a success by turning his farm in Las Cruces, New Mexico, into a pecan ranch. He planted 96,000 trees and began an enthusiastic and concentrated campaign to convince Americans that pecans were as necessary to the health of Americans as was orange juice. From this beginning, this man was soon marketing 2 million pounds of nuts a year and grossing $800,000 a year. Another man concentrated on raising a special type of tough, hybrid lawn grass that needs no water and little fertilizer. It thrives on heat and is not affected by insects or disease. This special grass he developed grew so fast that it killed crabgrass and discouraged other weeds. He did a mail-order business in which he advertised simply that he could furnish anyone with a crabgrass-free lawn. Orders began pouring in. For the next 2 years, his sales averaged $100,000 a year. After a few years of concentrating all his thoughts on this venture, he was grossing $766,000 a year. 4. To create concentrated mind power, stir your creative brain centers with intense emotions. No one ever achieved a fortune who did not want it intensely. It does not matter what you want money for. Want it with an emotional intensity that makes it the driving, compulsive power in back of your life. Emotions that give this type of dynamic intensity